Just about everybody in Washington wants to move up to a bigger, more important job. Paul Ryan is saying no to a bigger, more important job. Lots of people in Washington, most of the Republicans, some Democrats, most of the pundits want him to become House Speaker. So far, he hasn't agreed to do it. Turns out he doesn't feel that he can win the support of the more hardline members of the House GOP caucus, and some of the more prominent conservative commentators out there are campaigning against Paul Ryan as being insufficiently conservative. But this is about much more than Paul Ryan. If you listen to some of the people who do opinion journalism for a living, it's really about a struggle for the soul of the Republican Party. And I was so struck the other day by a column by David Brooks in the New York Times. He's a moderate conservative, kind of an erudite guy, civil, he believes in governing and government. He talks to President Obama occasionally, and he doesn't usually just sort of go off, but he did go off over what's happening with the House GOP. In that column, Brooks said he spewed all kinds of people: Rush Limbaugh, Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Newt Gingrich, saying that all of these and other voices have combined to take the Republican Party in a very radical direction. Here's some of what he had to say. This style becomes addicted to a crisis mentality, says Brooks. Civilization always on the brink of collapse. Every setback, like the passage of Obamacare, became the ruination of the Republic. Comparisons to Nazi Germany became a staple. And he goes on to say that these people don't seem to be able to get a majority, so they want to stop anything from happening. On the other side, you have liberal commentators saying, wait a second, if Paul Ryan, the guy who is the sort of intellectual heart of the House GOP, who's come up with various budget plans to streamline government and cut back on things like Medicare, that's why it's very controversial. If he's not acceptable to the House Republicans, then who is? What are we talking about here? So I think that one of the reasons this messy leadership fight is going to go on for a while, and one of the reasons that it has far more import than just who wields that speaker's gavel, is that it does seem to be kind of the ultimate showdown between those conservative members of the Republican Party who believe there should be some minimal cooperation with Democrats, and those who are really unhappy, and they have every right to voice their view and to try to get the person that is acceptable to them in the speaker's chair, who believe that this kind of cooperation and bipartisanship and going along to get along hasn't produced much for the conservative cause. When you've lost David Brooks, the Civil War lines are clear. Some conservatives think that something's got to be done and Paul Ryan is the guy, and other conservatives think that anybody but Paul Ryan would be better than John Boehner or Kevin McCarthy or others whose names have been bandied about. So I'm going to follow this closely because I think it really has become an existential battle, an existential struggle for the future of the GOP.